Okay, what is up, everyone? Good evening, good evening. If anyone who's watching could let me know if the audio and visuals are sounding and looking okay, we are going to dive into tonight's stream. So, we're continuing to paint Angron. It's day two. So, for anyone who's watching yesterday, we put down a bunch of reds, and I did a little bit more work off camera just because I thought it would be a little bit boring if we continued to paint different red layers on Angron, and this is kind of what he's looking at right now. Obviously, still arm and wingless, but we built up a bunch of reds. We're basically at a stage right now where we're going to start layering on the brighter highlights, and we're going to be putting on Evil Sun's Scarlet. I think I have an ambitious idea. I actually, for anyone who's watching yesterday, they would know that I was very indecisive about the wings, but I think I've come up with an idea for something that we're going to do for the wings. So we might get to that in a little bit. But what we're going to do is start adding some of these highlights with Evil Sun Scarlet. So let's get that paint watered up, and we're going to dive in. What's up, Mark? Good to see you hanging out. All right, let's get going. So we're kind of following the roughly the same patterns as we were yesterday. We're going to be doing a lot of striations on Angron on the flesh stones. So working in quick line-like motions like this. And this time we're really focusing on the higher points of the muscle, just to build some highlights up and stuff like that. Now, there's a lot of like vein kind of texture and stuff on Angron as well. I do want to do something with that, but I haven't quite worked out how or what I'm going to do with it yet. So, yeah, we're going to think about that and get back to it. But I do definitely want to include the sort of veins and stuff like that, put some coloration on those. I think we might do it with oils in a little bit. We don't need to worry about it right now anyway. So yeah, we're just adding the highlights. It's going to be a little bit slow like last night was again. We're still just building up these red layers, although we have less surface area to cover now since we're just kind of highlighting them. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Valentine's Day as well. Angron is my big red Valentine. So for the face here, we're going to really kind of start dialing it in on the highlights now. So you're wondering how I'm going to handle painting the join lines with the assembly mark? Well, that's the glory of an oil wash. It's just going to cover up all those things and pretend like they were never there in the first place. Just another reason why oil washes are OP. I tried to add some background music to the stream as well. I have no idea if that actually came through or not, or if it's working. I didn't really have enough time to test it to make sure that it was working. So someone could let me know if they hear it and if the volume is okay, or if they can't hear it at all. I guess that's unfortunate. You'll be stuck with just my voice. I also got my second Angron today, which was quite amusing. Oh, no background music? Oh well. Yeah, the tutorial I was watching to add the background music to OBS seemed to be a little bit dated, or else I was just missing a plugin or something. I won't sweat it, don't worry. But yeah, I received my second Angron today, so I have begun planning a very ambitious conversion project. People on Instagram might have seen that I was looking for Terrorgeist wings, which may be related to such a project. I really like all the definition on Angron's face. It's going to be really fun to come back to this later and kind of blend in some oils and stuff. I especially think once we start working in some red oils, we're going to get a lot of really interesting definition here. I'm really tempted to do some blue around his eyes, but that could run the risk of turning into blue eyeshadow if we do too much. At which point Angron will look less than intimidating. But you can see with this evil sun, well, I hope you can see with this evil sun's lair that we're starting to get like a real nice highlight going in here. I am tempted to continue working this up, maybe start working in some pinks and stuff, but I haven't really decided if we're going to do that just yet. You still don't have your first Angron, Freitas? That sucks. I heard loads of people are having a lot of trouble getting them. I got super lucky with mine. Hopefully you got something though, because all the new stuff is pretty legit. I got the codex today as well. I had a quick read of some of the fluff, namely the fluff around Invocatus, which won't spoil anything for anyone who hasn't read it, but it was quite amusing in the kind of like, I call it like goofy dark kind of sense, like that kind of comedic sort of style that GW goes with sometimes. I thought it was quite good. You've got nothing? Dude, that sucks. People hobbying tonight, or are we just watching the stream? I know a bunch of you folks were working on stuff last night. I know Jack finished his Angron today. Or at least I think it's finished, right, Jack? It certainly looked finished in the picture you sent me. It was pretty legit. Still to wait 13 days for your order? Sheesh. Just chilling the stream? Hell yeah. Let's vibe. I will promise I'll get the background music sorted for the next one. I don't think I'll be streaming tomorrow because I have a practice game. But I will probably be streaming on Thursday, and I will have the background music sorted for then. Probably stream for like an hour today, and then see where we are. Ah yes, your chain glaive eviscerators. An iconic unit. Almost as iconic as your Cursed Agrax Possessed. No stress? I am super stressed. Super stressed all the time. You do realize I gotta get this guy done in like such little time. I'm so stressed about Angron right now. It's taking even longer because I'm out here streaming for you people. Hello, Studio Guri. How are you doing? How's Angron's ass? Have you put some paint on it yet? I am stressed about the background music for this. I'm stressed about everything, I told you. I need these painting streams to be perfect. Just cut out the box art and put it on a base. That is some big brain ideas, actually. See, it's kind of like taking a lot faster now to work through the layers because kind of just focusing on those highlights and stuff. it's not really taking us like a really long time to go through each layer. Starting to look nice though. It's probably brighter than maybe people were expecting, but that's because we're going to dull it down with oil washes in a little bit. I always find when I'm painting models like this, there's like areas of musculature that I enjoy painting way more than other areas of the model, and this like inner thigh piece here of Angron, it's real good. Kind of messed up some of that layering, but that's okay. We can fix that. Cameras also mess with shade and tone. Yeah, for sure. It's really annoying. It's not going to be super easy to see exactly what I'm doing. But I've been putting pictures in Discord like afterwards, which are like a little bit better resolution, so you can kind of see what the vibe is. But yeah, for sure, it's hard to get the exact like tone across with just the camera, especially like when I'm recording with just my phone camera. It's a pretty hatchet job kind of setup, but it's working. We got a nice mic now, so at least I should sound okay. Actually, how's my volume for voice? I can turn it up if you guys. I know some people were saying it was a little bit low last night. If it's okay tonight, or if I need to turn it up, just let me know. How am I painting the armor and the trim? The armor is going to be brass because it's Angron. It's going to be like a dark brass grading up to a light one. The trim will mostly just be either bright brass or silver. It depends on which part of the trim and kind of what the matching areas are around it and stuff. We'll probably be starting that tomorrow. Oh no, sorry. Not tomorrow. Thursday. Tomorrow I'm playing games. Tomorrow I am doing one of my final test games for my broadsword list. Volume sounds good? Okay, that's good. See, the trick was, folks, to move the microphone closer to my face, which is a pretty advanced hack. So I spent a lot of today like looking at wings and stuff, you know, to try and get some inspiration for how I was going to tackle those wings. Which, you know, if anyone watched my How to Plan Out Your Angron video, I actually did say to do, but I thought I had a good idea at the time, and then I decided that I did not actually have a good idea. So I spent all of today doing research, and I think I came up with something that I'm going to like, or at least we're going to try. It's going to be quite challenging. We're going to go for like basically a black into light pink for the wings, which sounds awful. And it might end up being really awful, but that's all I have to say about that for now. It might be cool. And if it's not cool, we can just spray it all black and start again. Yeah, shoot me please. Angron is really he's a fun model to assemble. Like he goes together really intuitively, which is nice. I always appreciate a good build. Is it worth buying the codex first or finish collecting a 2K list? I would finish collecting a 2K list. You can get the codex online if you want it. Like, the codex is cool. I got it today and there's some like fun lore and stuff in it, but I would always prioritize models over books because only one of them gets outdated. The other one stays with you forever. Tail is starting to come together quite nicely now. I don't know if you folks can see, but we have a real nice gradation working from kind of like this area around the horns to the apex of the barbs on the tail, and it's actually coming out quite nice. Sorry, Mark, did I cut a bit too close to the bone when I said models don't get outdated? How are your Vindicators doing? Oh yeah, that's rough. Hey, they're like Red Corsairs now though, right? They just switched allegiance. In the same way that all my raptors are now creations of Gal and Surlak. The book smells real good. Jack, you're like the only kind of person that would smell a codex. You're such a weirdo. Studio Guri, I had fun watching you build your Angron. That was such a joy to see the updates. I am still in awe of what you did. It's like real inspiration for me. The stream turns. Yeah, everyone's turned on me in comments now. What the hell? Man says one thing controversial. I hate this little area of the tail. It's like such a small surface area to work with. I think actually we're gonna flip it. That's better. Doesn't really matter if the blend isn't perfect right now as well, because um we're gonna kind of fix that with oils and stuff later. Like right now we're just kind of putting in tones and highlights and stuff like that. You still want it to be nice, but like, you know, if the transitions aren't seamless, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully we'll have old Ronald finished by early next week though, because then I'm gonna start painting some jackals. Also, I don't know if anyone's read it, but one of my friends gave me like a TLDR of the lore of Arcs of Omen Angron, and some crazy stuff happens in that book. Like things that I really was not expecting, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it has certainly given me some ideas for different types of jackals that I'm going to be including in my army. Things that I would have never considered before, but now that I know it's canonically okay to do, I will certainly be adding some into my army. But, you know, if you know, you know, is what I'll say about that. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Cool book, though, by the sounds of it. You want to get some Beastmen? Yeah, the Beastmen are good. They are good vibes. I was actually really tempted to. I saw they had like the new, whatever he's called, the Beastmaster or something. The new Beastman dude. He's like perfect for a good Dishonored, I think. I was tempted to pick him up today, but you know, I've spent enough money on Warhammer this month. I don't think I will spend any more for quite some time. Yeah, the top of this tail is looking quite nice now. Let's just highlight the maul, I guess. I'm not sure what you call this part of a tail. I'm going to call it the Ankylosaurus part because the Ankylosaurus is my favorite dinosaur, and this guy basically has an Ankylosaurus tail. What am I missing in chat? Who's smelling glue? I'm talking about mortals again. I'm literally surrounded by my mortals army on this table. Like, Angron is the only non-mortal thing on my painting desk right now. Yeah, the tail horns kind of suck. Which is worse, smelling glue or licking the paint off your brush to keep a point? It depends what type of paint you're licking off. If you lick off oil paints, that's definitely worse. Pretty sure acrylic paint is mostly non-toxic. Like, me and my roommate drank some Null oil before, and it didn't kill us. I hate trying to get to this part of the underside of the tail. It's such an awkward angle to paint. Basing demon flesh brown, yeah. It's the easiest way to generate shadows really quickly. I guess it's like not like super dark brown really. It's just like Rhinoxide and Word Bear's red, but like that's what I did for Angron. And like if you look at a lot of the artwork of red demons, the darkest tones and the brightest tones are not red. They're usually like brown or pink or like bone colored, which is like something that our eye doesn't really see. Because like we're telling ourselves that something's red, so we're seeing the bright parts as being just bright red, even though that's not actually what's happening. So it's about like, you know, training your eye to see what's actually there rather than necessarily what you think your eye is supposed to be seeing, which is like I think sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. Right, let's mix up a fresh batch of Wild Rider Red and move on to the gun show. Arms coming up next. What mix on the Rhinox Word Bear? My darkest layer was like 1 part Chaos Black or Abaddon Black, 1 part Rhinox Hide, and 3 parts Word Bear. And then I worked in like 2 layers of gradually more Word Bear after that. But like that's, I guess, a bit more of an extreme version. Like you don't have to do so many layers if you're lazy, basically, if you don't feel like it. Especially because like the water ASMR. Yeah, you're welcome. That's some good shit. Also, I feel like doing so many layers at the start is sometimes redundant for me because of the oil washes and stuff. It's kind of like, well, did I really need to do all that? But I do it anyway because it's good to suffer for your art. Right, so let's move on to the arms. I'm not really paying too much attention to how I'm doing this shoulder muscle because it's being obscured by the shoulder pad anyway, but I'm just kind of using it to test the red or red mix to make sure that it's like okay, basically, before working onto the parts that are actually going to end up being visible. Looks a little bit watery, but it's still workable. As long as it's fun. Nothing about painting this model is fun. It's literally just pure stress. No one paints to have fun. They paint to be stressed out. I have like an idea for what I'm going to do with the wounding around these armor plugs as well. But I'm going to try it out in these pieces first because they're going to be obscured. I think we're going to try and like darken the flesh and have some like kind of pinky old scar tissue or something going on there. See how that goes. I don't know exactly if it's going to work yet. I think I did it before, but I really can't remember if it worked or not. One thing that I started doing this year was like keeping track of my paint recipes in a book because I keep forgetting my recipes, and then I'm like, I know I said at the time I would remember that, but I just don't. And then I'm kind of stuck. So top tip, keep a paint book recipe. I have to paint faster. The event's coming in hot. Yeah, the event is starting to count down and everyone wants to play games against me and I don't have time. Everyone's trying to figure out how to crack the world leaders before we hit the events. Your second goal is to finish before me? Dude, you paint like so much every day. I get like 2 hours to paint. Of course you're gonna finish before me. You got like more done in Angron in like 1 day than I did in like 3. You like to just forget paint formulas? That's a good vibe. Sacrifice 1 or 2 days of sleep to get Ron done. It may come to that. I don't think Ron is going to be the problem. I'll get him done. It's more the problem of painting the 10 jackals I have to do afterwards and what condition they're going to be in. Because I want the army to look nice. Proxy jackals. I'm using all my cultists already as proxies for my jackals. I think it's a little bit cheeky if I don't have at least one squad of legit jackals. I feel like people will kind of be like, the only legit thing here in your army is Angron, and everything else is either proxies or reused models from other codexes. Which, like, I don't anticipate people being like too ratty about, but like at the same time, it would be good maybe to avoid that kind of feel bads. Different vibe getting rocked by a world leader player that's been playing for a while. Yeah, like this is kind of the thing, right? Like, I don't want to like absolutely body someone on the table, and then they're saying like, "Oh, you're just like playing like a list that you like rush together, and you don't have any of the official models." I'm like, bro, I've been playing like World Leaders for a long time, but most of the people at this event kind of know that that's my vibe anyway, so I think it'll be okay. I think I'm worrying about nothing really. Proxying in red marines. These are my blood angels. Those sanguinary guard are 8 bound. Yeah, I'm using a lot of jackals in my list. There's 40. And as it stands, like 10 of them are arcoflagellants. 20 of them are Blackstone Fortress cultists. So I think I should have 10 that are like actual jackals. Especially because I'm running 8 bound, but they're just my possessed. Which is kind of a little bit cheeky, but I don't care. I'm getting use out of those models. But my rhinos and berserkers are legit. And Angron will be legit. Yeah, Freitas, peace out, bro. Oh yeah, the rhinos they're mainly for my berserkers, but actually every rhino will start the game with a jackal squad inside it, just so I can get a little 3-inch disembark speed boost in the first turn, and then the berserkers basically all jump in. Just allows the jackals to get up the board. Oh well, you know, some people want to spend their Valentine's watching a paint stream, which is a good vibe. We're all just hanging out, having fun. We're all painting Angron, yeah. Look, at least Angron's red, right? He's in theme with the day. I think an important part of adding this highlight layer is to make sure we don't overdo it as well, because it can be really easy to go over the top on the white scar or on the well rider and just kind of cover the model in it. It kind of looks like ketchup then at that point, which is not the vibe. So we're going to move on to doing some highlights on the wings, and I think then we are going to have to embrace the fact that we're going to have to start thinking about the actual things that we want to do with the wings, which is scary. but we'll get there. Right. Let's take a quick look at this wing. You can kind of see we're narrowing down the area that we're working on as well, especially on the wings. It's like a smaller surface area anyway. Did I use an oil wash on this? This is just layer upon layer of different acrylics at the minute. We will be using an oil wash, but we have all the acrylics to do first. And then after we do the oil wash, we're going to do oil blending, which I have a fun video on how to do that already, but not on the video doesn't cover anything organic, which is obviously what this is, being that it's a wing. And the things you can do with oil blending on organic textures is like really incredible. It's going to feel like cheating if you try it yourself. It's just like a hobby hack basically. So we're going to work through that as well, and that'll really jazz up Angron. He's going to look real sweet after that. Like, it's such a hack that some people don't even bother building up these acrylic layers. If they're good at oil blending, they're just going to oil blend. I haven't really gotten it down to that kind of a level yet, but hopefully someday. What am I doing for the basing? Good question. I'm going to keep it in theme with the rest of my army, so that kind of like war-torn wasteland basing scheme that I normally do. So there's going to be lots of barbed wire, probably some dead bodies. Basically work, because it comes with like a pretty sculpted base already. So we're going to take that as the base and build around it. But it's not going to be anything too incredible because like there's already so much going on that we don't want to detract from the actual model. And the sculpted part of the base is already pretty neat, so we don't want to do like too much detail or anything, because you're just going to start losing things at that point, and then it's kind of like meh, you know, what's the point? It is like that's a pretty important concept in general with big miniatures like this, is like don't focus too hard on doing loads of little details, because if you overcrowd a large miniature with tons of small detail, you just kind of like lose all the bigger picture. Basically, you look at it and it's just mess. It's just noise going on, and I can't land on anything. Which is why we're kind of working through these parts fast enough. We don't want to spend like tons of time like detailing in scars and you know different types of tissue and stuff like that. We're just powering through it. If this was like a Space Marine space, we would spend way more time working on that skin. What do I make of the Arcs of Omen basing kit? Is that the boarding actions one? It is. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I don't really buy basing kits because I can kind of like make all that stuff myself. It just feels like an expensive version of kind of messing around with your own trash, basically. We have to be real careful around these ridges here because we don't want to lose that nice layer that we built up. Just getting this highlight down on the wing ridges, and then we'll flip it over, work on the other side. Thanks to the ASMR. No problem. We will be back on Thursday for working on the scary parts of the model. Wait, why is it making you reconsider your... Wait, what's your technique? Makeup, dry brush, oil blend, and clean up? Yeah, I mean, this is just like a longer version of that though, right? Like it's, instead of a dry brush, it's like more acrylic layers. Like it's gonna be the same end effect more or less, just with a better kind of transition. But the principle is exactly the same. Okay, that is this wing. Hit up with the Evil Sun Scarlet. We're just gonna flip the other wing now, and then I think we're gonna base out the wing membranes in potentially Galvorback. We might make it a bit darker though, mix in some black. Galvor Black. And technique is base coat, wash, then dry brush on highlights, then oil blend, Yeah, I mean that works. Again, it's not really that not that different from what I'm doing. Um, I mean everything looks good until you look real close. Who is painting? It's Jamie, of course. How's your Angron going, Studio Guri? Have you got a lot of them done? Yeah, the highlights along the spines are pain, but they are kind of worth it. I think they were on the GW model as well. I'm pretty sure that's where I got the idea. Yeah, definitely share a pic, Guri. I will check it out after the stream. You know specifically which kind of pic I want to see. You should change your nickname to Penguin Man. I think I'm gonna run out of wild red or red before this layer is done, which is annoying because I don't want to mix up more. Am I going to have streaking grime on the armor? Kind of. Kind of. Not really, I guess. No. um, it depends on which part of the armor. For the bronze, I won't because streaking grime wouldn't really collect on bronze. I might pin wash some of the bronze panels with like dark streaking grime because it's green, which makes sense. but I'll do like streak and grime and stuff on the iron bits. But for grimdarkifying the bronze, we're going to I haven't really thought about it too much yet, but we're basically just gonna kind of work with some different effects. Like probably do some vertiges. We'll do some corrosion. Play around with kind of different oils. I think we'll probably add a bunch of green oil paint to kind of weather it up. There isn't really many panels on Angron to streak anyway. Everything is like very, very detailed. Alright, I am actually going to have to water up some more Wild Rider. That's annoying. Turret on turquoise on the globes. I'm not going to do that kind of bluish tint to the World Leader symbol. I'm not really a big fan. Oh yeah, I agree. It can look really good if it's done right, but for me the problem lies in the fact that like you can't really do weathering effects afterwards, like you rightfully point out, and you're just kind of stuck. And I don't like that. You're gonna grime the entire Angron model. That is brave. Are you actually doing that? Are you griming your whole Angron? I can't tell if you're joking or not. Wait, you actually are? Wow, that's sick, dude. I mean, I'm sure you can pull it off. I mean, I guess I'm going to be doing something similar. I'm going to be oil washing the entire model, just not the same oil wash on all of it. So, like, same principle, really. I have seen your World Leader army, and yeah, yeah, fair. I mean, it works on that, though. Like, I freaking wash all my World Leaders as well. What brush am I using? At the minute, I'm using the STC brushes, just because, like, number one, I beat the crap out of my brushes anyway. Like, I burn through brushes really fast, so I tend to get cheap ones that have a decent point. But this specific technique as well will like burn through a brush in pretty much a few days. So yeah, I'm kind of using the cheaper ones. I definitely wouldn't be using like a sable hair brush for this. Keep it synthetic. But I actually do like the STC brushes because they are cheap, and they also hold their points, which are two things that rarely cross over. Yeah, sometimes they don't necessarily hold their point. It can be if the brush gets too loaded with paint, basically. I mean, I'm really not fussy about brushes either. I'm not one of those kind of like people who's like, oh, I use like X, Y, and Z brushes. I'm just like, yo, if I can put paint on the model with it, that's fine. I don't particularly care too much. Okay, that is the red for that wing. Not bad. How are we doing on time? Okay, it's been about an hour. So I think I probably will shut it down for now for this evening, folks, because we streamed for an hour, which is kind of generally the time that I said I'd be streaming Angron for. I know we didn't get to doing the wing membrane, but I'm actually going to wait on that until we're streaming again because I think that'll be quite fun to watch. Basically, me go insane as I try and do that. So we will be back on Thursday doing that, and yeah, we're going to give that a go. We're probably going to start working on the bronze armor. I might base coat the bronze armor in the meantime, but for now, we're going to leave it there. Thanks again for hanging out. Hope everyone will come out on Thursday to stick around for the vibe and everything as well. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Hope everyone's enjoying Angron. Catch you all soon. Until the next one, folks, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn.